Press and record. So here we are with Mimi Kuo Deemer, who is an author and a teacher. She's not just a teacher of Qigong, she also teaches meditation and yoga. And I know that you're pretty interested in Tai Chi as well. So welcome to the One Chi Project, Mimi.
Thank you, Clara. It's a real honor to be invited and to be here.
Oh, bless you. So we are asking each of our contributors 5 straight questions to begin with, and we'd love to talk to you more, and hopefully in the time to come we will do. But just to begin with, if you could introduce yourself and tell us how you found Qigong or how Qigong found you, that would be a great starter.
So not many people know this, but the first time I did Qigong was at the Shaolin Temple. And I was 14 years old and traveling with my brother on a group of overseas Chinese through the Cradle of China. That was the title of the tour we were on. And they brought us, of course, to Henan and to the area where the Shaolin Temple is. And for almost a week, every morning we had classes with one of the monks, and he was teaching us Qigong. And I was quite, I was into dance, I was into movement, and I loved it, but it was so hot. It was just so hot, even in the mornings, and we were outside. And as a 14-year-old, forced on a trip with her brother and other kids, we just kind of goofed around. So I didn't get nearly as much as I could have from that experience. And years later, though, it came back through, interestingly, an American Qigong teacher named Matthew Cohen. He, Shifu Matthew Cohen, he had been teaching at Sacred Energy Arts, or Sacred Movement, Sacred Energy Arts is his form of practice. He'd been teaching at a studio in Los Angeles called Sacred Movement, and what he taught was so interesting and different. It was probably the year 2002 or 2003. I had been practicing yoga, I'd started teaching yoga. I was in China at the time, frequenting Los Angeles when I could, just to study with my teachers there. And Matthew's integration of yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, and dance was powerful. And right after I took the class, I felt a really strong connection to him. And we started talking, and I just opened my yoga studio in China. And I said, Matthew, this is totally just unprompted, but would you consider coming to China at some point? If you wanted to, let me know. And he did. So he came over and he taught me Zhanzhuang. He taught me Wuji, and he taught a workshop, and then later teacher trainings that fused yoga and Qigong. But I remember so distinctly standing in Wuji, and I'd been doing yoga for quite a long time by then, and feeling something so distinct and so grounding and energetic. I felt like my body expanded in dimensions and became much bigger, warmer, solid, but also ephemeral and etheric. It's hard to explain, but I felt rooted like a tree and also vast at the same time. So
such a good description, because it's not easy to find words to describe the sensations or the experience being in your chi for the first time. So that he was talking you through your wu chi and your presence with the earth and the elements. Wow, that sounds amazing. I can feel it as you're speaking about it. Thank you.
Yeah, so that hooked me. And from that moment on, I was intrigued, integrated it immediately into my yoga, and started working with more spherical forms and shapes and movements within the asana, which is more linear. And then I started studying with Donna Farhi, who had been very influenced by her partner at the time, and he'd been a longtime Tai Chi practitioner. Everything she said was about yield, was about Chen. It was just different language, but it was bent knees, wider stance. It felt very honest, but also very immediately sensible in my body. And then her best friend is a woman who started a school of 5-element acupuncture, or actually just acupuncture, I should say, but she knew 5-element acupuncture in New Zealand. And I met her when I went to stay with Donna in New Zealand. And Cameron said, I really want to go to China because that's the motherland, and I've never been, and I've been teaching Chinese medicine and working with Chinese arts for so long. Would that be a possibility? And I said, of course. So we organized a retreat with Cameron, and she laid the foundation of my love for the 5 elements. And we did it in a small remote village outside of Beijing near the Great Wall, where I had a house, a weekend house. Very, very basic. It sounds very exotic, and only the wealthy have a weekend house. But this place had no flushing toilets, donkeys braying, roosters getting you up in the morning, a dirt floor. I mean, it was very basic. And we ran a retreat there, though, and it was wonderful. We did quite a few retreats, in fact. And she taught me a 5-element form that I started doing daily, and it shifted so much of my kind of long-term health conditions. She also, with laying out the philosophy of the 5 elements and an understanding of our body as the microcosm of the macrocosm, I began to shift my schedule, my habits, what I did at night, what I did in the morning, what kinds of food I ate. I aligned myself kind of to the circadian rhythm, but with the Chinese body clock. And things like my asthma, things like I had a lot of rebellious qi, a lot of upward, let's just say, noise coming up.
Fire.
Yeah. And a lot of that started to shift with daily Qigong practice that was 5-element focused.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what is it that you really love about Qigong?
Oh, the philosophy is probably one of the things that I love the most. It's the connection to the natural world and finding alignment and harmony with the Tao. And it's it's as simple as that, which is through my intentions, my breath, my movement, my way of seeing myself in relationship to everything around me, can be expressed through Qigong, and can be discovered and extrapolated and profoundly I want to be careful with what I say, profoundly, mysteriously, never understood.
Isn't this the thing, the mind is not supposed to understand this. It's our experience and the letting us, I love the way you use yield. I often talk about surrendering, but it's that yielding to what is and trusting the elements. So do you adhere to a strict lineage form or what?
I'm a little bit of a maverick that way. I speak about Matthew as one of my early teachers. He has a certain lineage, but he's a jack of many trades, and he has so many teachers. And he's also studied with the teacher that I'm studying with now, and this is someone in Beijing. And so I guess my lineage now is from Ba Gua Zhang, but I'm just starting to learn this. It's Ba Gua Xing Yi Quan, and some of the Shaolin Golden Bell practices for the 12 meridians. But I've been studying with my teacher in Beijing for the last year and a half. And prior to that, I learned some of it through Matthew. So I don't want to say, I don't want to say that is my lineage, because this is just rather new. My lineage, though, is sort of everything and everyone. It's a lot of things are self-taught for me. I learn the forms from Cameron, and I practice them every day. I still practice them. occasionally. I studied with different people, picking up on forms, the classic forms, kind of the 8 brocades and the muscle tendon changing classics and the 18 forms. But to be honest, I looked at many different systems and schools, and I dabbled here and there, and then I just started working them through my own experience. And through that, I decided, or I felt, maybe it's, the Qigong police might come after me. But I switched orders around because it just felt better energetically for me to do certain forms before others. And I'm happy to discuss that with people if they're challenging, if they're challenged by it. But for me, it comes back to something that defined the Taoist school back in the Han Dynasty. Sima Qian, who is a Han Dynasty historian, said something along the lines of Taoism is a system whereby it changes according to the times. And in no situation is it not appropriate. And so it's very much about humility, fluidity, and adaptability for me, and responsiveness.
Oh, I love that. Mimi, you are so articulate, eloquent, and absolutely on this, because Qigong is a form of self-empowerment technique. And my sense is that when people learn the stuff, yes, you learn it in stages and you learn it from the masters, but ideally you're making it your own so that it makes sense for your own energy system. And so I think it has to be that way. But yeah, this is a huge topic, and hopefully we will get the opportunity to discuss it further. But on this particular interview, let's just continue with the questions, which is the next one is, so what do you feel you have gained the most from Qigong?
Oh, what have I gained the most? Nothing. Which is everything.
I love it. I love it. We're in the Tao here, that cannot be named.
Which cannot be named, and
yes.
is, I feel like if I were to have gained anything, it would undermine the critical principles of my practice.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think how I answered this was that it brought me back to myself. I mean, it gifted me back to me, but that's not the ego me. That's like a much more ephemeral version of me. So
yeah, absolutely. And when I say nothing, people will say, "Oh, but that's nihilistic," or that is, people may think that is very unattractive. But for me, nothing is everything, and everything is totality. And what is totality? Well, if we try to define what totality is, that collapses it. So yourself, but what is yourself? Yourself is everything. Yourself is what is always in a dynamic interplay between yin and yang, with the kind of foundation of Wuji. Yeah, with a foundation of Wuji meaning emptiness, or the Tao, or primordial, soupy oneness of things. The undifferentiated source. Right? Yes. We're part of that, and not to say that I've gained that at all, because I can't. That would be, again, nothing. Yeah, it's the glimmer of it, I suppose, is what I've gained, and the possibility of just the letting go of expectation, and the letting and the opening to more inquiry is what I've gained, and that feels very spacious to me, because I feel when I try to find definitive answers and conform to orthodoxy, it closes my consciousness down, and it limits what is possible. And I'm much more interested in the questions.
Really, so
If you want
well.
to, if you want to rewind this and, and listeners want a practical answer, because that's quite out there. If you want a practical answer, you know, what do I feel as a benefit from Qigong, rather than what I've gained? What do I feel as a benefit? Much more clarity of mind and ease and spaciousness of heart, groundedness in my relationships, and the ability to laugh at myself when I inevitably say something and stick my foot in my mouth and hurt someone that I don't intentionally want to hurt. The humility to recognize I've made a mistake, and the ability to apologize and really look inward, and that I feel has been one of the greatest gifts and benefits of my practice.
Oh, that is so
More,
beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for that honesty, and also for splitting that question into two, because it needs to be done. And I remember, because both of us are trained with Master Ken Cohen as well, and that's where we've met. We've actually met in person, which is so good. And he was saying that when people ask you about what is it like practicing the primordial form, he'd say, "Oh, it was nothing much. I might do it again."
Perfect.
Or
Yeah.
words to that effect, because you don't want to build up people's expectations, because that takes away their potential for experience. Mm. So what our experiences are for us, and what others are for them. So when people say, well, what does Qi feel like? I'm going, it'll be your response to it. You'll notice subtle things maybe, or you know, it's like, open it up to, like, I don't know how your Qi is going to feel, but you're going to find out. Like, in due course, yeah. If you ask the question, be curious and sink back and be open, and not chase the feeling. If you're looking for the feeling of Qi, it will probably not show itself to you.
Precisely. Yeah. It's very well put. Yeah.
A bit fickle like that. So if you had 2 minutes, which you do, to share with us something now, what would that be? And
so this is probably the simplest practice of self-massage that I think, in our anxiety and our uncertainty today, and the feeling that maybe, you know, we don't know when any normality will come back. This is the simplest thing, and I don't know if you can, I'll angle my camera down a little bit more. But it is to massage Renmai, which follows the same pathway, interestingly, as the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve, it starts in the brain, it comes around, you can maybe, you know, feel that for now. You start from the center of the forehead and just kind of slide the hands around to the back and sides of the neck. And then the vagus nerve travels down to the heart. There's a very strong correlation connection down to the abdominal organs. And then right in the center of the vagus nerve, yeah, exactly, is, Clara, I don't know if people can see that, Clara just had a little shudder, is the Renmai channel. And so it's just a soothing, the hands down, Renmai. You can touch with the hands are quite healing, or you could hover the hands, whatever feels energetically healing, nourishing, settling. What often happens when we don't feel that there's been a bond with mom early on is Renmai gets a little bit, right? And where's my milk, mom? Right? Where's my love? You know, pull your shoulders back, be confident, but actually soften Renmai. And sliding the hands down and soothing can be really healing. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. Thank you. I clearly needed to do this then today. Very lovely. It reminds me of part of a whole clearing form, but to actually bring it just into this smoothing and calming of this conception vessel and kindness, so, that the yin, isn't it? The stroking the yin.
Yeah. So Renmai, as some of you may know, is like Clara said, the main conception meridian, the vessel, one of the 8 extraordinary meridians. and it's the mother. It's the yin energy that feeds all the other yin tributaries, the main organs. And for the longest time, I used to do tapping and kind of not beat, but tap along yin meridians. And very recently, my teacher was like, no. In Chinese, they see, for yin, bu means to mend or to nourish, and xie yang, xie is to release. So you can tap the yang meridians, but you want to stroke and soothe the yin. Yeah.
So beautiful. Hey, where are you based these days then, Mimi? Where are you?
I am in a little village called Stonesfield, which is about half an hour northwest of Oxford.
Okay. So what made you land in the UK?
My husband did, we were both living in Beijing. He was born in Tennessee, but raised in London. And he wanted to study 5-element acupuncture. So there was a program in London that was really appealing, and we were ready to leave Beijing. Mm-hmm. So we made the move here in 2000. Well, he came in 2008. I came in 2009. Mm-hmm. And we've been here since. So.
Well, fabulous that the UK has your wisdom here as part of the energy. So, and we are now building a team. We really want to help unite the Qigong teachers and practitioners in the UK, because like you said, right at the beginning, we don't know when normal will come back. But my suggestion is we are creating a new normal. And that means unity of the truth of the elements within us and around us. And so it's time to unite people through our qi. Simple as that.
Wonderful.
But thank you so much for being part of it. I look forward to speaking with you more very soon.
Thank you, Clara, for having me.
So welcome.